Welcome to Geek Philosophy, where we love geeky wisdom. If you're new to the channel, my name's Brian, and you have found yourself in our Guardians of Getica live stream. This is where we get together and we talk about the Guardians of Getica campaign setting, which is a campaign setting for kids, but also everybody. It's multi-generational. If you're joining us in the chat, please jump in at any point and provide your feedback, your comments, your thoughts as we go. If you're joining us in the recording later, which I guess you're not really joining, you're just really watching, but if you're watching the recording later, still add your thoughts to the comments and we will make sure that we get back with you as soon as we can. If you're new to this whole thing, there's a link to join the playtest and the whole playlist of all these videos so that you can get caught up if you are interested. But really what we're trying to do is to get a setting created where kids are the stars, kids are the ones that are able to shine in the story. However, they're also joined by elders, by sort of a skip generation, so grandparent age type characters and players, hopefully too, that can join them on their adventures. In this world or in this campaign setting, they are battling the Frights, which are this mysterious, unknown entity that is terrifying the land. Quite literally, they feed off of the fear of everyone, and the kids and the elders are the only ones that can perceive them. Everybody else, when they get to be, the equivalent of about 18-ish in whatever your game has for adulthood, they start to forget about the Frights, and then they can't perceive them any longer, and they go off to do all their normal adventuring stuff that might happen in whatever game you're playing. So if you're playing D&D, this can happen in the same campaign world as the other games that you might be running for your teens and adults that are playing in their normal setting. And this sort of is happening in the background, and these kids are members of this secret organization that's not so secret because it has a cover identity. It is known as sort of a youth organization, a leadership organization. What I've got on the screen right now, for those of you that are familiar with this, is my prototype. This is not final version. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. This is a site that is basically a placeholder until I can get new images that are done by professional artists and all this kind of stuff, but at least it gives you a feel for what we're going with. And this is the site for the Royal Academy, so that you can jump in and kind of get a feel for what it's like going to school, and it's all the public facade at this level, right? It's not really saying all the things that are really happening with all of the kids when they go out on their missions. So this is something that we've recently been putting together. We've talked about it a little bit on the stream last time. Again, placeholder stuff, not the final version. This Pokemon still has to evolve. So you kind of get the feel for what it's like to be a part of this world. The other thing that this kind of lends itself to is the explanation of what we're hoping to kickstart at some point when we're ready to do this, and it'll be hopefully a little bit longer from the perspective of we want to get things right, but not so long that everybody kind of fades out. I think we can really do a lot to make this work. So what we're trying to kickstart is the campaign setting for this, right? So having a setting book that will be a similar feel. It'll be annotated, and we'll dive into this a little bit more in other videos as we go, or you can catch up with other ones. The adventures, as I mentioned, are the field trips that they go on. That's the cover story. So for example, Join the Search Party is going and doing sort of a scavenger hunt. Oh no, sorry, this is the one where they're actually going and trying to find some missing livestock that have gone missing in a nearby village, but really the mission is to go recover them and to find out which Frights are the ones that are taking them. It's an adventure module that we have in the playtest materials that you can actually play through if you like. So this is the feel for it. I know that was a long intro, but I know that we've also got some people that are joining us or learning about this as we go, so I wanted to do a quick recap of where we are so far. I'm going to jump over to the chat to say hello to everybody. So hello, hello. We've got Hello from Crystal and Brian. Yeah, hello from me. Also, hello from Ethan. So yeah, so hello from Crystal and Ethan. Thank you for joining again. Hi Ben, good to see you. Greetings from the US. So nice to have those greetings from the UK. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna jump into something a little bit different today. Instead of diving in too deep with progress on what I've been working on, because we are still in flux with some of the things. I'm meeting with my lead designer tomorrow, and meeting with artist hopefully later this week. Still progress is being made, so don't worry there. But what I thought I would do is give you something that you could use right now as a method to adjust things. Let me give you an example of what I mean. So in the general campaign settings sort of working file that's got all the notes, the draft of everything, there's a section called adapting your favorite game. And that's because this is the campaign setting, or really it's a subsetting that can exist in any fantasy role-playing game setting. But this Guardians of Getica setting is system agnostic, meaning we've created a rule set that you can use that will be completely free when this launches, that you can just download the free rule set for playing a very simple, lightweight role-playing game. We've named it, right now, working title is Lore Keeper as our game system. And that's fine, but many of you already play games. Many of you are 5e D&D players or Pathfinder players or whatever it might be. And so I put some notes in here just to kind of make sure that the highlights of how to take something from an existing maybe adventure that you already want to play and convert it over to be a Guardians of Getica adventure. So as I was preparing for tonight, one of the things that I did was I signed up for a free version of D&D Beyond, not the paid version at all. This is just a free account to see what free adventures they had in there. Because sometimes they throw free stuff in there just to get people interested in, you know, I'm not trying to push D&D Beyond on anybody. I'm just saying that this is free and this gives an adventure. So I wanted to start with something that everybody could watch this video, jump in, and be able to get. So after creating this sample free account, here's my Guardians of Getica created today, I found that there was a free adventure called The Lightning Keep. And so this was also, luckily enough, they have done, I guess, a monstrous compendium that is Minecraft creatures, and it's related to all of the different types of Minecraft creatures, so it's like a crossover type of thing. I'm less concerned about that for the Minecraft of it, but if you like Minecraft, awesome, here you go, you can use it as is, especially if you're playing that kind of thing. But we're trying to adapt it for our Guardians of Getica setting. So I thought what would be good is on the stream now together, I could kind of go through this and start talking through how I might take an adventure like this and turn it into something that would work in Guardians of Getica. So let me read this first just to get a level set and see what we're getting into here. Lightning Keep is an adventure for 4 to 6 characters of level 3. So depending on your group, you might have to adjust how powerful things need to be. Designed to be playable in 3 to 4 hours. So that's not too bad. We try to keep it to, an hour setting, hour and a half, sometimes 2 if we're pushing it. It's set in a world of your choosing. This is great because setting agnostic means it will work for us. We just have to change some things. Perhaps a world of your own creation. It features monsters from Minecraft creatures, all that kind of stuff. So we can claim it to unlock. I've already claimed it. So Lightning Keep. It's a 5th edition D&D module or adventure that is designed for 4 to 6 characters at 3rd level. We knew that already. This is the same intro. I don't need to do that. Spoiler for anybody that may be watching that is hoping to play this. I'm going to go into the DM territory here. So because we're seeing how we adapt something for our setting, we kind of need to do that in this example. So spoiler warning if you want to hold off on watching this one until you've played it. But I'm going to move forward. Here we go. So running the adventure. So it's designed to be playable in 3 to 4 hours. We're good there. Okay, so here's the stuff I'm looking for. Character's goal. They must search an abandoned castle for 6 magical lightning rods. So it's the basic go out there and get the MacGuffin, right? It's to go out and find the thing. There's a castle, so we've got some castle / dungeon delving. Sounds pretty typical of D&D, which is fine. When installed atop the battlements, these rods create a protective lightning field around the castle. I love this. And by defending the castle this way, the characters can provide a haven for refugees displaced by a marauding dragon. Oof, I like this too. More information about the castle and the dragon can be found in later sections. So already at the top of my head, I was at least, in previous sessions or in previous adventures, thinking about how do we reskin a dragon into a fright. And this dragon fright that I was thinking of was sort of like Master of Storms. So basically it was a reskin of a blue dragon with the lightning. So that would work really well with something like this. You know, obviously you scale the HP and you scale the damage for the group as you need to, but sounds like this works well. So yeah, jumping right in, I'm going to say that yes, they're protecting this castle, but even more, let's say that Guardian headquarters has learned that these lightning rods, or whatever we want to call them, we can come up with a fancy name for them, were created by Guardians past, and by placing them around headquarters, it will stop the Storm Dragon from being effective at attacking Guardian headquarters, right? And maybe the frights are becoming a little bit more, a little bit more bold, and maybe they're going after the Guardians directly instead of just terrorizing the crew. Might be fun to go with this, right? So now we've got, pretty easy port over with the stats. Won't have to be changed much. It's just the type of damage that's being done and so on. So it's kind of, you can tell this is for beginners. It kind of shows you how things work. Dragon suggestions. I like this. It's got a suggestion on, the different types. We're going to go with a reskinned blue dragon because that gives us all the things that we're going to be doing from the lightning perspective, the storm perspective. Sounds good. Then we've got the beginning of this adventure. So I'm kind of going through this and reading it as I go. So if you think of things, pop them in the chat if you're joining us live. If you're not and I missed something, pop it in the comments of this recording. But so begin the adventure by reading aloud. A marauding dragon. Nope, we won't say that. What we will say is something like the dragon fright or the storm fright or whatever we're going to cause it, right? So we would rephrase this and turn it into our mission briefing at Guardian headquarters. We would take this and make sure that we had a way to translate it for our setting. But let's just read it through just to see what they've got, because might be some cool stuff we can pull. It strikes without mercy. No one knows where it comes from, but there is hope. Long ago, a werewolf knight of great valor used her wealth to raise a bastion at the edge of the wilderness. Interesting, a werewolf knight. And the castle had the power to generate a lightning shield around itself, a shield powerful enough to break sieges and keep monsters at bay. Really cool. I like how this is turning out. The castle was abandoned shortly after the knight passed away, but by then peace had settled across the land. Okay, great. Villagers displaced by the dragon ask you to travel to Lightning Keep and rid it of any threats. So this is cool because it's like you're going to this ancient location that has this history of why these lightning rods were created to begin with, and if you can find the stuff, then you might be able to reactivate the shield because there's trouble again. Again, I would probably say that we're going to be going to search for these. It could be at an old Guardian headquarter outpost somewhere that we were using in the past, years ago, and finding what's needed to bring them back to headquarters and do what we need to do. So not too hard to adjust this. let's see here. Ethan's loving this, so he's well. I'm glad. So this is the type of stuff I think that like, and this is one of the reasons, guys, that I think that adventures that are written, by professional adventure writers, do a good job of putting things together. But also, it's really easy to recognize the tropes that are in most adventures like this, right? Like, you're going to get the MacGuffin, and then you are, trying to save the world. So then it gives you all the information you need. Like you got the distance is for you to decide. We do this a lot if you want to do from headquarters to the site as fast travel and just have everybody explain how they got there safely. That's a good way to do it. If you've got new players, one of the things I did in the recent session that we did when we were playtesting is I tried to make sure that we had a little bit of exploration on the way to the destination to just ensure that everybody got a feel for what it was like to camp outside and do all those types of things. But you don't need that. You could just say everything went well with travel and you arrived, and then start from there, and that's fine too. Arrival at the keep, path leads you there, and then they get some hungry wolves. Now this is a little, I don't know if I would do the hungry wolves here. Maybe you would. Wolves are a very easy thrown in sort of creature for people to combat almost in every game that I know that's fantasy based. And these wolves of the overworld, and it's got the Minecraft stuff, and that might be part of it too, is maybe these are Minecraft creatures that I'm not familiar with, and that's why they're there. So forgive me, Minecraft lovers, if I'm not picking this up, but yeah, they've got the stats baked into this, so if you're using this stuff, you can do it. What I do like is that they build in, as a action, character can try to convince the wolf to leave peacefully without offering a food or bone. We'll do so with a DC 11 Wisdom Animal Handling check, or frighten with a DC 11 intimidation check. So this is good. It also gives what the wolves do on its next turn if it needs to. Like, so all this stuff is great. One thing that I would suggest, sometimes with kids, killing animals is not always the right way to go, or battling them in general. So what we've recently done in another borrowed adventure is say that the wolves that were battled in that adventure were sort of being taken over by frights. So they were possessed, and so the damage was being done from an energy perspective, and it was releasing the hold on the wolf, and then the wolves would leave after that and shake off their possession and be back to normal. So that's one way that this could be handled. If you want to keep it wolves, you could also make it something completely different. You could use one of the other frights we talked about, create something your own. So after they deal with that, they're going to enter the keep. So I love, this is great for us. There's not a whole lot to even change here because this gives options. So like, how do you deal with stuff? There's the whole portcullis that they have to get through. So you could use grappling hooks and ropes or climber kits and all kinds of stuff. So a clever use of magic. A small character reduced to tiny by an enlarge or reduce spell could slip between the bars, or a misty step might just let them jump right through. They could climb the walls with things like spider climb or just athletics checks. They could lift up the portcullis with a strength athletics check. And it can also be raised and lowered when using the winch in area K3. We haven't gotten to all the areas yet, but that's good to know that there is something else that operates this, the mechanism. So then it's exploring the keep, right? So we've got a map. Not much you have to change with this map. I think it's pretty straightforward. I'm glad they're putting the artist credit as they go through here, which is great. And so we've got the main map, as this is what the keep looks like. It's all labeled really well, as with most of these professional things. They work really well for these types of adventures. So we've got the ground floor, upper floor. Without the label, you could use this for the players, right? So this is the players version, and this is the Dungeon Master Game Master version. And then here's a creature, looks very similar to a mini that I have that could easily be repainted a little bit purple to to be a fright. So this is a really good example of a possible fright. I don't even know what it is. I guess we'll see. Looks like maybe a water white. I don't know. We'll see. So then we get into the keep, right? So the keep itself, we've got the building materials explained, the ceilings, the doors, the indoor lighting, like all the information you need there. And then we've got, you know, the breakdown of all of the different things here. So by using something that's already built, like one of these published adventures, it makes it much easier for you as the game master to just jump right in. The other point of me going through this, in addition to saying how do we how do we just reskin this to make it Guardians of Getica, is to show that this can happen with most types of fantasy games. All right, I've been talking for a bit. Before we get into the keep, I'm going to jump back over to chat. Maybe just reskin the roles of reptiles, sharks, or whatever other creatures lurk nearby. Yeah, exactly. So you can adjust those. And one, I love the fact that you're saying that, because I want to make sure that people understand what I mean by reskinning, and probably what you two mean, Ben, is when we're talking about something. I guess I need to clear your comments so it's easier to see. Sorry. Here we go. So like when we're talking about reskinning something, what I mean by that, and everybody might have their own opinion, is that game mechanics, if you're new to running games, you're not sure how to adjust the numbers sometimes. And adjusting the numbers too far in one direction or another can make it either really, really easy or really, really hard, depending on how you do it. And that might not be good or fun for the players. So if you've got a published adventure that has already been sort of thought out, and they've used the right monsters with the right statistics in and all that kind of stuff, it takes a lot of the guesswork out. So these numbers, 12 strength, and really I don't really care about the number as much as the bonus. So +1 to strength, +2 dexterity, +1 con, -4 to intelligence, +1 to wisdom, and -2 to charisma. None of that matters for the type of creature it is. In theory, this could be anything. The challenge rating, experience points, the armor class, really, and hit points, and the speed are all crucial when you're trying to figure out, like, how are you going to make this work in combat. The skills that this thing has are really good to know. Like, it's got a +3 to perception. It's going to be a little easier for it to spot things or smell things or whatever it might be. Excuse me. Then we've got stealth, the +4. It's a little bit sneaky. It's awesome. Passive perception's already 13. So if they're trying to sneak up and they rolled under a 13 on their stealth anyway, they know they're going to be seen, right? Or as the creature. So this is a good way to look at it. You're only looking at the numbers when you're talking about, and the abilities when you're looking at reskinning. When you're just reforming it into whatever. So like we could make this into some type of reptile looking purple energy fright. We could make it into some kind of wolf-like creature, but instead of a snout, it has like a duck bill. You can make it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. However you describe it, that's the reskinning that I'm talking about. Describe it how you want, have the math work the way that the math has been working here. That's the easiest. I mean, there's more you can do with that, but that's just an easy way to think of it. And I love if you know your players and you know what they like and you know what you can do, you can already reskin them to a creature they would want to encounter or battle or whatever. Okay. Going through this, we've got the lower gatehouse. It's unguarded, which is great. They got the iron portcullis. They've got a double door here. Some options for how to get through some of this stuff. A description of the courtyard. So most of this is pretty straightforward D&D. This is the dungeons. It's a castle, but the dungeons of the Dungeons and Dragons, right? Harmless rats infest this wooden building, which stinks of rat droppings. I love that they put in, you could speak with animals and ask the rats some things if you wanted to, if they have that ability, right? Makes sense. Not really, you know, anything here that would mean that there's some type of battle with the rat. These are just regular rats, so I wouldn't do battle or anything. As they go through the outer barrack, they've got mildew here. They've got, let's see. Ooh, so lying atop 4 of them are dusky green creatures with blocky bodies and heads, but no arms. And then those of you out there with Minecraft knowledge already know what these are. The armless figures reclining in the beds are 4 creepers, which, because I haven't bought Compendium Volume 3 Minecraft Creatures, I don't have their stats, so I'd probably need to figure something out for them. But we've also got other frights that we could pull from. We've got some standard D&D creatures. You could reskin the wolf stats to work here. You could do whatever you like. You know that the wolf works for whatever this level is supposed to be, so you could just say this is what it looks like, and then, you know, they could start attacking and just use the wolf stats if you don't have these, but just use whatever the description is. But these may be what I would say would work really well is something like animated armor. Like you could have the frights that are haunting this thing or keeping this thing, you know, from being, or this keep from being, keeping the keep. The frights that are inhabiting the castle and stopping it from being used may have inhabited the armor too, and that's what you could use here. So yeah, cool stuff here. All right, let me jump back over here. So we got, yeah, I need a lightning fright from the last game. I just reached in the Will-O-Wisp. Yeah, Will-O-Wisp works great. Will-O-Wisp is harder for me to say when I'm on a live stream. Awesome. And then Drew made it. Awesome. Good to see you. Good. Got it. Let's see. Just got home from oh, that's cool. How'd it go? Let us know in the chat. I'll catch up with that in a second or so. Always a good reason to miss out is when you're playing the actual game rather than just watching and talking about it, which is also really fun, but there's nothing like playing a role-playing game. So glad you had a D&D session. All right, so then we go through. So we've got empty horse stalls. So far, this looks really great. Now here we go. Kitchen and well. The shaft of the well is 5 feet wide, 30 feet deep, made of bricks. So a stone well occupies the southwest corner of this kitchen. Next to the well is a wooden bucket attached to a 50-foot length of rope. The kitchen's work table and cupboards are bare, and a small iron cauldron hangs from an iron hook in the soot-stained fireplace. And it's guarded by a water weird. Water weird are these like water elemental creatures. You know, these are no joke for the right level. So, you know, they're immune to being grappled, paralyzed, poisoned, prone, restrained, unconscious, all this stuff. It's got blind sight. This came up in another live stream that we did, that Crystal and I did yesterday about Critical Role's latest, where they had a creature that seemed to be able to sense, and blind sight's a thing, right? So you don't necessarily have to have eyes on to find you. So that's cool. So this is, it's also resistant to fire, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, all from non-magical attacks. This is where the Astari weapons would come in great. We turn this into a fright. Takes the shape of water. Now we've got the storm theme going. It makes me also think that these things on this level may not just be suits of armor. They could be rusted suits of armor instead of these creepers, and they might have been rusted by other water elementals that have been going in them and filling out the armor, and that's what's moving and attacking, not just animated by whatever. But again, the water looks fright-like, dark purple energy, all that kind of stuff, right? And because we have the storm theme going, it could be that the tops of the castle had holes in the ceiling, and the dragon fright that was coming through and doing the lightning and was bringing a storm surge, and all the water that came down and it filled in the buckets. Ooh, yeah, like I like it. You can kind of get the theme going that the dragon and the storm frights or whatever in the area are kind of like keep it themed. And now we've got something that we could, I'm going to scoot way back up to the top in this, because we're also playing with kids and people that may not have done this before. In our mission briefing, whatever we reskin this to be, we can mention that they're going to get these lightning rod things. Again, we'll come up with a better name than lightning rod. And that it is useful for stopping nature based frights that are corrupting the way the weather is supposed to work, right? So weather frights or storm frights or whatever we want to call them. And so we kind of lay the groundwork here, so maybe they prepare correctly as they come out and bring some things with them that could help. This is probably the big bad for this, and I think that makes sense, because going out and doing this, spears, swords, and bows are non-magical. So if you got the armory, this is a perfect chance to find some Asteri spears and swords and bow and arrows, that, because this could have been an old Guardian outpost that was used way back in the day, right? We've got the gatehouse again. Here's 4 empty suits of armor. Ooh, love the empty armor again. We got some paintings. Bedroom, looking through. Ah, here we go. A narrow bed rests in a far corner of this sparsely furnished room. On the floor near the foot of the bed are an empty overturned chest and a wooden coat stand. So when they examine this, they're going to find a wooden scroll tube, and inside is a scrap of paper with the following words written in common: wooden lance, moonlight dance, model keep, cistern deep, below the shield, by the chains concealed. I promise you that I picked this at random, and it turns out there's always something that is almost directly related to what we're doing. So this Lightning Keep adventure comes ready-made with some Guardian lore that I was not anticipating. That's great. Like, so we have this already, and the phrases provide clues to the 6 lightning rods. So we've got these as clues to all of the lightning rods, and then you can kind of go through all of these to find them. I was kind of going through quickly, so maybe they were already in there. Pretty cool that this is here. So now we've got some Guardian lore, luckily already built into the adventure. How cool is that? Got the privy, we got the bedroom. The dark figure is an Enderman, and Ethan is probably telling me exactly. Let's see. Ethan likes the idea of the old guard. I've heard of the term. Ethan, tell me in the chat what the Enderman is, because I'm not going to be able to do this. And it was drawn to this world through a shadowy corner of the room. Unable to return to its world, it attacks if approached or spoken to. So this Enderman is definitely something we can reskin as a fright, and hopefully reskin it in a way that matches what we're doing with the storm stuff. Maybe if it isn't 100% storm theme, maybe this type of fright is calling the storm frights in and keeping people from finding the rods. So yeah, sounds cool. I'm biased, but this seems like a cool adventure to run. But I feel like it's even cooler when we put the Guardian spin on it, like making it into having more context, which is, by the way, why they do it like this. When they say they want you to use it for your own setting, they want you to do exactly what we're doing with this. They want you to take it and adjust it and make it your own, which is what we would do. And so I think this is great. There's a book, has Moonlight Dance as the title. Mystery writer. It's a werewolf is suspected to be a tool. So this is kind of nice. It gives a little history of the area. There's an elemental gem that's here. That's great. There's a lot of cool things. So lightning shield. So they put the rod into the cornerstone and it goes off. So I don't know if I would do the cornerstone thing here, or if I would let them bring these back and have the cornerstones at the battlements or around where Guardian headquarters is, if that's what the mission was to go collect these, and have this just be right where they can conclude the adventure. And some of this stuff, you can, shrink down and cut out. But this is not bad for taking this and jumping right into this, just taking first look at it, not even reading the thing through first. Just knowing that they had it geared for more of a Minecraft crowd let me know that this was probably a good adventure that can be used. So if you're interested in it, it's free. It's on D&D Beyond, or at least it was free to me with signing up for the free account. Like, I didn't pay anything for this, is what I'm trying to say. So just go in there and check, see if you can find it. If you have D&D Beyond, search for Lightning Keep. They are definitely trying to sell you the other books and stuff, which, they got to make money. I have no worry about that. But this is nice. And the downside to using something like this is it's not in a PDF form that you can have for yourself forever. But once you take the ideas from this and you grab the map, maybe download the map for use and make your notes, you can put your own together pretty quickly from this. So let's see here. Okay, thanks, Ethan. It's a creature that is in the end, and it can pick up blocks, and you can't shoot it, and also teleports. Awesome. All right, so it does a lot of things, I guess. It's in the end, so it's the Ender Man, I guess. Picks up blocks, and you can't shoot it. Also teleports. Interesting. And if you look at its eyes, everybody else that knows exactly what I'm talking about would be, let's see. It will attack you. I see. So if you acknowledge it and look at it in its eyes, it will come after you. That's an interesting fright that we could put together based on that. So I think that this is, again, I wanted to do this just as a way of showing how you can easily reskin some things, existing adventures, and do this. It's obviously easier to keep a theme when you're writing it from beginning to end, but it's not always, it's easier conceptually. It's not always easier practically to do that, because not everybody has the time to come up with something beginning to end and write it. So the more adventures I can put together to help you out, I will, but I just want to show you how you can do this on your own using some basic premise of, use the fright instead. And when we come over here, just tells us, right? Like, and again, those are the playtest materials will know this. Frights don't cause physical damage. They drain the player's energy. If health or energy is critical level, they become incapacitated or unconscious, unable to confront the frights directly. Instead of character death, characters are overwhelmed, lose the ability to perceive or remember the frights. Remember, if you're doing 5e, instead of death saves and then you're done, character dead, it's memory saves, and then you don't remember or perceive frights anymore. You're still alive. You can still play whatever other game you'd like, but there is still big consequence there. If you use a hit point mechanic, consider memory save. That's what I already mentioned. Special materials like Asteri Steel or Ironwood are effective at damaging frights. So we always have that as a backup. So like when we have all of these things that are saying like immune to this, immune to that, like frights are going to be damaged by Asteri Steel or Ironwood. So if they brought their stuff, or magic, if they brought their stuff and they can sling spells, they should be fine. But if someone else is helping them that doesn't have those abilities, they're not going to be as effective either, right? So when they take enough critical damage, instead they just dissipate and are banished from the realm. But also lore, traditions, superstitions, rhymes, and songs can be used to ward against these fright. You could even have some things where if you have some type of a thing like the whistle for the Ironbane fright, or the ringing of bells and surrounding it, and it just vanishes by surrounding them with enough people and ringing the bell or whistling, maybe that would do something. So there's a lot of ways you can do this, but this is a good set of tips to how to change some things. And then again, encourage players to invent and share new rhymes and songs or traditions that can be passed on. And luckily enough, there was already something there, and it was more about the clues of where to find the things. But that's fine. I think that's good too. That could be considered lore. It doesn't always have to just be how to battle the fright. The lore could also include things that were hidden away to keep safe, right? Or other types of things like that. So yeah, I'm happy with the way this is going so far. We're gonna cut it a little short tonight, not short, but we're about on par. But I just wanted to mention again, I'm working with my lead designer, and when I say designer, I mean visual designer, on this stuff. So updating images, getting the site redone. I've got a meeting tomorrow, and then hopefully meeting with. He's also an artist, and then hopefully meeting with another artist to have a collaboration on the visual look and feel of what the setting guide and the artwork should be. A lot is hanging on that, I think, when you come up with some type of a campaign setting, and it gives a good feel for how things work together. Like if you look at Dragonlance versus Planescape, you can tell just by looking at the art, like what you're looking at, right? And those are two D&D things. But if you look at Mouse Guard or something like that, that's a whole different feel, and you can look at the artwork for that, and it looks different, and that looks different from the Avatar, the Last Airbender role-playing game, right? So those are completely different because that is meant to match the animated series. So I want to kind of get a good feel for what this is going to be. So that's kind of my primary purpose, is to get this in good shape, that we can start sending it out. I can start getting more people over to this and signing up for the playtest. So if you know anybody, playtest link is in the video description. It's also, I haven't done this before, I don't think. For any of you that haven't been over, you can also reach most of this stuff at our Geek Philosophy website, which is just Geek Philosophy in general, right? But this gives you a link to our YouTube channel. It gives us, hey, look, we're live right now. That's meta. So then we have an Etsy shop for those that are in mailing distance, where we've got stuff like stickers and stuff like that. This is not an ad for me. I just figured I would share. And then we also have mugs and merch available for all of our stuff too. And then you can read a little bit about who we are and all that kind of stuff. But the contact, even if you go here and you join the campaign here, you'll also get the free digital campaign planning guide. So, but this list is also getting new information about the playtest. So feel free to grab whatever you like. But this campaign planning guide is available. We sell it on our Etsy shop, but I have it for free if you sign up. If you've already signed up, just sign up here. You'll get the link because of the two different forms. But at any rate, I'm going to be changing this soon to be pointing over to the Guardians of Getica join the playtest. So you may want to jump over there soon if you want to get the download. All right, let me check the chat before we head away for this evening. I'll take a sip while you guys get caught up. This is called product placement. Just kidding. I mean, not really. It is product placement, but I was actually thirsty. All right. Everybody have a great evening. I will catch you next time as we continue our journey with this. I'm really hoping to have a bigger update for you. If not next time, at least via email. So I'll let you know how that turns out. But everybody enjoy your rest of your day, evening, night, whatever time it is, wherever you are, and we'll see you then.